name of the Requiem Eucharist is one of, again, paradoxes. It's in all the words in it, and it's also many layers. And I'm recalled of the blessing that the Cathars give is, may you have a good death. Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing? Because see, it's this contrasting between life and death, rebirth in the spirit, birth into this life. It's very difficult for our finite minds to really grasp it. But there's a part of us in our spirit that does. And that is really what all gnosis is about. It's finding that place within ourselves that understands these things. And in the collect today from the Sophia service, that also brought that to mind. In that it's sort of like it's that timelessness that you touch upon when you seek after gnosis. And there was one phrase in that collect, and now it came to me, and now it's gone. So there you go. But anyway, it's important in that it'll come to me. I'm sure it will as things go along. But it's important to find that place that understands. Well, yeah, it's where understanding abideth not. So that's where the contrast and confusions happen. But it's that understanding that that really makes the whole. So then we find the opposites really not clashing, but actually in dynamic equilibrium. It's almost as if they're the positive and negative poles of the lodestone that creates the magnetic field. It's the gravitation. It's all these things are metaphors, and that's also how this works also as well. And one of the most sort of ambiguous and difficult parts of the little section from the Jung's Gnostic Sermons of the Dead is how he deals with Abraxas, and then there's the star of the microcosm, the star of the macrocosm, and then in the lesson it talks about the veils of the spirits of imitation. So there's a lot of imitation in the work of the archons, and so there's that sort of, it's almost as if they glimpsed this star and fruit of the pleroma, sometimes it's called, and Corinne Helene says it comes down on Christmas Eve as a sixth straight star. And this is really the basis for those of you who know Reverend Joseph Wolf. His star above and star below ritual is particularly based on this. And it's as if the archons kind of took that pure, timeless, archetypal reality and tried to fashion it in some way, tried to artifice it in some way. They're artificers, but they're distorted. They're distorted. It's very much like, I like an analogy would be Tolkien's orcs. Orc, archon. I think there might be a connection there. But if you look into the history, the orcs were actually originally elves who were distorted, genetically modified into orcs. And so this is kind of the world that we live in. We live in a world of orcs. If you haven't found that out yet, you will. I guarantee you, it will. And what makes it even worse is we have orcs within us that give us trouble as well. So that's. But the a good death is really, I think it relates somewhat to St. Paul when he says, I die daily. That it's that, and also that phrase in our Gnostic, I think it's the post-Eucharistic prayer, which we will be doing today. But anyway, those who dissolve the world and are not dissolved themselves. So it's that kind of thing, and death takes place on so many levels. The body has its own way with it. The sort of elemental part of that has its own struggles. Then there is the more soulful part that kind of is a little above it, and then there is the spirit, who is really kind of throughout the whole process is pretty much going around making the rounds and checking in with everybody to make sure they're okay. So this is how it is. It's not all one. Too often what we tend to do is try to concretize these things that are timeless and archetypal. And we tend to bring them down into here. And then this is where we get all this animosity and hostility and such. You know, if you look at the media, it's all about making you angry, making you fearful, or making you sad. So there you go. That's not a good place to be. So, but if we can have a good death every day, then you know, it doesn't really. And in fact, in a way, it allows us to do good. It allows us to do good. If we get caught up in the snares of all this stuff, then we can't really act out of the pure essence of ourselves. But when we can tap into that, then we can have a good death, and we can give that blessing to everyone. And so may the blessing of the mystery of that which hangs us heaven and earth go with you and remain with you all.
Amen.